Yeah, that's actually, I've been to maybe half a dozen pawn shops in my life. I just, I haven't been one of those folks in pursuit of the oldest banjo in the world and the perfect pre-war. But we were doing a school program in Pontiac, Michigan, and went to have lunch, and next door to the little diner was a pawn shop, and walked in, and there was this beautiful, really old Kel Kroydon banjo, which is Gibson. That was their lower end banjo back in the 30s. They of course had the master tone, or this was right before the 11s and the 10s, the Gibsons. It was a tenor banjo, and it still had the tenor neck and the pot, and it had been played a lot. It was the fret. It was all scooped out behind the frets, so I knew it was going to sound good, and got a real deal. It was a steal. They just wanted to get rid of it, and so I got that. A great friend of mine, Tom Lang, actually went in and bought that for me while we were out playing at a school program, because I didn't have the cash in my pocket at the time, and I took it home and let it sit downstairs for 7 or 8 years because I couldn't decide. It didn't have a tone ring in it. So it's a 1935 Kel Kroydon, which is a precursor sort of to the 11. And I didn't know if I wanted to cut the rim to put a tone ring in it or not. But I finally did, and it has a Yates tone ring in it right now, and I love it. It just sounds like an old banjo.
Yeah.
I like that old Gibson sound. So.
Yeah, no, it's a fierce banjo.
And you don't have to work too hard to play it, so it's good.
That helps.
This is 42.
Wow.
So, well, yeah, almost. 2017 is 42 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We started a couple years earlier, just with some guys around here, and had different names. Ended up with Special Consensus, but 75 is when the bass player Mark Edelstein and myself decided we were going to just give it a whirl for maybe a year or two and get it out of our system, and then go back to real life.
Yeah.
That didn't happen for me. That's kind of a two-edged thing. Most of the time we just tell folks we were all guys just trying to learn more about playing bluegrass music, which at that time in Chicago there was the Greater Chicago Bluegrass Band, my good buddy Richard Hood, who gave me a couple banjo lessons, and a band called Central Standard Time with another Richard who was the leader of that band on the banjo. And I think we just started playing around here, and then eventually started touring. But we came up with the name Special Consensus because we were all trying to learn the music together, because we all came from different backgrounds. I was an old folkie and actually played the accordion when I was a kid. But there were these books by Carlos Castaneda, and this was the first one that he had written, The Teachings of Don Juan, and he went and lived with the Yaqui Indians, just trying to figure out their spiritualism. They'd heard about all the people that they used peyote to really get in touch with the spiritual side, and then they didn't use peyote anymore. They didn't need it, And so anyway, in that book, the state of where kind of the good things or on earth in this life and spiritually all kind of converge in a good spot, and that good spot in that book was called Special Consensus.
Oh, wow.
So we thought, wow, that's pretty cool, 'cause that's what music was for us, was just this wonderful thing that really connected. You could connect with the world and people and yourself, and do all these cool things. So
yeah.
And then and that was kind of in the 70s. That was in the 70s when there were different times, and later on we thought, God, probably ought to change the name. But by then it was too late. We'd already gotten the name was around, and we thought, if we change the name, then they're going to think the band's breaking up and come up with a different name and all that. So we just kept it.
Yeah, well, it's worked out.
It started out with the Special Consensus Bluegrass Band, and then it was the Special Consensus Bluegrass, and then it was the Special Consensus, and over the years, now it's pretty much just Special Consensus because people call us Special C or Special K, you know, from the cereals. Well, you know, there are a lot of variables, and I think you know, you have to first of all be playing with people that where you're kind of on the same page with the kind of music you like or that you want to play. You know, and our band sound has evolved quite a bit because back in the 70s we were probably less traditional because we were playing the clubs and you had to play old rock and roll songs or country songs that people might recognize from hearing on the radio, so that then they would come and hear you, and then they always liked bluegrass music. But so you know, you have to be on the same page with the folks you're playing with, and then when we replace people, you have to be able to get along because you spend an awful lot of time together. So that's a big factor, you know, is you kind of have to be on the same page in a lot of ways, personally and musically, and you have to be willing to practice. And but you know, as a band leader, for me, it's a lot of it is when we bring somebody into the band, it's not to say you have to play it the way the person before you played it or something. You know, we want to bring in opportunities for the new person to bring in their new stuff too. You know, so of course we keep playing the things that we've had on our different recordings. We always try to play one or two things from even the older recordings. But so you have to have room to grow and have to be willing to grow. You know, and not, for us, what's helped is not trying to be exactly the same all the time, but to have a sound that's identifiable as the band's sound, but maybe, you know, try new things sometimes. And we've had different voices. The hardest part is finding the voices, to make sure you find people whose voices blend. You know, you have to assume that people are good players, and I'm not a lead singer, and I'm not a great singer at all, period. I sing parts, you know. So I got to make sure we get the people who are going to sound good singing together, and then you can change what we call the stacks. You know, so you might get somebody who sings great real high, and somebody who sings great real low in a different range, and we've had a couple of women in the band. You know, that changes the sound. So it's been fun, actually, interesting. It gets scary sometimes too. You know, when people are leaving, and it's like, oh well. What are we going to come up with now? But you just have to persist. You know, don't give up. If that's what you really want to do, you do have to stay at it. You know, there's the music part and the business part and the recording part, which is all of that, all of the above. So I think just set your goals and try to have some sort of plan about how you grow and have fun. Yeah, you got to have fun, or else.
Why are you even doing it?
Yeah, that's you know, it's got to be 51-49 anyway. You got that you keep doing it. When we get ready to record, you know, that's when we really listen and rehearse, and then when we're in the studio, obviously everything changes, and as we put together the pieces, and then we have to go home and learn what we did on the recording, because it's always way different than when we walk in the door, you know.
Sure.
So everybody, you know, it's just your responsibility to keep up on your own, and then when we get together, as I said, we snatch some moments in a motel or backstage, have a little rehearsal, you know, before we play. Maybe not the stuff we're going to play that day, but just to keep fresh and keep learning and keep creating. It's difficult because we can only, you know, compass now. We do 10 songs, and when you get 100, you know. But we solicit it from some of the writers. Tim Stafford's given us songs, and great songwriter. And we got one called Monroe's Doctrine that did real well for us, and that was Ronnie Bowman and Craig Market and I'm blank, Bob Minner. from the Nashville songwriters. So we get a lot of stuff from guys down there, and that's great. And I think who else? Robbie Folks, who was a former Special C boy.
Yeah.
The title song to what's now our current recording, Long I Ride, was written by Robbie. And I get to play with him every now and then too. We do a duo thing, or sometimes a put together band in the Chicago area, and he's a fabulous songwriter. Donna Ulysses sent us some, Jerry Salley. So once you kind of get in the loop, and then other songwriters send them, and Rick actually Ferris wrote one of the songs that's going to be on the new recording, and I've written a bunch of instrumentals over the years that were on the recordings. So it's hard though. We listen a lot and spend a lot of time while we're writing, just listening, and it's sometimes difficult. And we try to think then of, is there a theme? Is there some kind of thing that can make sense in selecting the material? So the new one, we realized after we did a song that John Hartford did, Way Down the River Road, and then Becky wrote one called She Took the Tennessee River. And we just started seeing sort of a little theme. It was starting, we thought it was going to be more about people, just regular folks living on the land, like maybe Midwest, not going back to the mountains, not going out to sea. But now it seems like it's I think we're going to call it Rivers and Roads.
It's coming up one.
Mm-hmm. The one that's not released yet. It'll probably be out about February or March probably in 2018. We're still working on it. We still have to finish a couple things next week. So, and as you see some kind of theme or connect, then you choose other songs. And it's really hard. And the hardest part is to tell some of our friends, all these folks who will send us some songs that, okay, we're not going to use it, and it's a great song. And we had Mark Simus, for example, who's a great songwriter. He's written stuff for Alison Krauss, and he's out teaching songwriting at Berkeley in Boston. And he had sent a song a few years ago, and it just wasn't what we needed at the time for the theme. But I remembered that song and pulled it out, and sure enough, we're recording it now. So even we might have gotten the song 5 years ago from somebody, and it doesn't mean we're not going to record it. It's just at the time it wasn't kind of what we needed.
Doesn't like fit the album kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have quite as many this time, but we always, Allison likes to help us out, just do something fun like that. So we had a couple folks called the 10-String Symphony, and they're both 5-string fiddle players, and they're playing on a song that actually John Hartford made popular in a lot of old-timey musicians. It's the one instrumental called Squirrel Hunters.
Yeah.
So we got them on that, and we have, let me think, we got Molly Tuttle to sing on the Mark Simos song with us, and to play, she played clawhammer banjo, and I played 3-finger style banjo on that one. And on Squirrel Hunters, Alice and I are going to be playing twin banjos. That's a thing that we started. I think it was on the Scratch Gravel Road recording. I'd written a tune and said, "Hey, let's play twin banjos," and then we got on the John Denver one and did it again, and then on Long I Ride is where we did the Fireball one with the tuners, and we just had a blast doing it. So it's kind of become a thing for us now that we play twin banjos. So Allison will be on it as well, and I don't know. We're doing a few more. Not as many guests this time, but we always try to bring in folks to have fun with them.
Yeah. You had mentioned Bobby Osborne.
Oh yeah. On the Becky Buller song that she wrote, She Took the Tennessee River. We got Becky to come in and play fiddle on it, since she wrote Scratch Gravel Road, the title song to the recording that we released in 2012, which was nominated for the Best Bluegrass Album Grammy Award. So we got to go there to the Grammys. That was fun. And so she wrote this, so we had her play fiddle on it. And yeah, Bobby Osborne, Allison Brown with Compass Records, Gallison and Gary got Bobby. He's not retired, obviously. He's still out playing, but he just turned 86. It's amazing. And this is the 50-year anniversary of Rocky Top, so they convinced Bobby, hey, you should come in and we'll do a recording. And she got all the people together to play on it with him, and it's a great recording, and it's up for the Grammy, and it won the IBMA Recorded Event of the Year award. And so we were very lucky and got him to sing a little bit on this. She Took the Tennessee River. So just because, he's a legend, and he's fabulous. So he sang a verse and a couple choruses. It was fun. He's great.
Yeah, I mean, how often do you get to do something like that?
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out the video, and thanks to Greg Cahill for his help. Make sure to check out his Grammy-nominated band, Special Consensus, and keep your eye out for his upcoming album. To keep up to date with all the guitar, mandolin, banjo, and resonator videos I'll be putting out, subscribe to my page and make sure to turn on the notifications. We look forward to seeing you again, but until then, good luck and happy picking.